cause of the devastating Tubbs fire traced to a single home. Good evening. I'm Alan Martin.
And I'm Veronica Dela Cruz. Investigators concluding the 36,000-acre fire, the largest in state history at the time, started on Bennett Lane in Calistoga. Chopper 5 live over Coffey Park, one of the area's hardest hit by the Tubbs fire. The flames chewed through the neighborhood, taking 5 of the 24 lives claimed in this fire, destroying more than 1,300 homes.
That's where KPIX 5's Wilson Walker is, on the street where CAL FIRE now says that the fire began. He joins us live. Wilson?
Well, you mentioned the helicopter over Coffey Park. We're here on 128. If you drive between these two spots, you might know the road. It's Porter Creek Road and Mark West Springs. If you drive that road, you get a feeling for the way this fire marched from here on this private property over towards Santa Rosa and ultimately Coffey Park. It's kind of an incredible trek that fire made. Well, now we know how this fire started, and that just sort of immediately brings to mind a whole new list of questions.
After a very thorough, lengthy investigation, CAL FIRE determined that this was not a PG&E caused fire. This was actually traced back to the point of origin, which was a private land area that had power on it with no responsibility to the utility.
And just like that, the question that has been hanging over this region is answered, and just as quickly it raises a long list of new questions.
This obviously begs the question, now what? Do we anticipate that PG&E will move forward as they have, as they've previewed?
PG&E, of course, was citing potential lawsuits from this fire as one reason for bankruptcy. And today in the construction site that is Coffey Park, I ran into one homeowner who was part of the lawsuit already filed against PG&E. And you said you didn't have much in the way of expectations.
I did not. I didn't expect anything from them, really. Honestly, I figured they'd get out of it somehow, or they didn't do it, one way or the other.
Well, to me, it doesn't change anything because I'm not suing anybody at this point. So I just want to get my house rebuilt. That's all I want.
Now, obviously, what does this mean for PG&E's bankruptcy? It's just you can kind of go on, and I think we're obviously just scratching the surface of what this determination means. Everyone had been waiting to hear what caused all of that destruction. Now we know, and now people have to sort out what that means for everyone.
So, Wilson, if PG&E is not going to be held responsible because it wasn't their fault, do we know, is the homeowner or their insurance company going to have to pay up anything? Are they going to be held responsible?
No. Here's the thing. Thousands of man hours put into this investigation, and ultimately they could not determine exactly what caused the fire. They know it happened somewhere on this private property, some type of private power equipment, but since everything was destroyed, or enough was destroyed, they couldn't pinpoint exactly what caused the fire. Thus, they can't make any determination of wrongdoing, thus no charges. But again, we have seen things sort of like this. Remember, the Valley Fire was caused by faulty wiring in a hot tub. So, not the first time we have seen some private electrical equipment lead to tremendous devastation.
Absolutely true. All right, Wilson, great perspective. Thank you. KPIX 5's Emily Turner at our live news desk, looking at what the news does mean to PG&E and the plaintiffs suing over the fire. Emily?
Well, that really depends on who you are. For the company itself, it's certainly good news. Just take a look at what the stock market did today after this news was announced, up at one point almost 75%. Now, overall, this is great news for the company, but they're still down over a 12-month average after all of the news of the last year and several fires. Now, of course, for a company that's facing bankruptcy, this is exactly what they needed, but that does bring into question the bankruptcy itself, right? Gavin Newsom, the governor, today said, are they going to move forward with this? Because he estimates that about half of the $30 billion in wildfire losses that this company faces, about half of that, he believes, are from the Tubbs fire. Now, this also draws into questions from the lawsuits that the utility is facing. Many of the cities and the counties that planned to sue PG&E say they're going to take a second look at this, although we are getting early indications from one of the supervisors in Sonoma County that they plan to continue pursuing this lawsuit, as do many of the wildfire survivors. We talked to one of those folks' attorneys today.
PG&E is not going to be criminally prosecuted, But in terms of their civil liability for the failure to manage the wildfire risk, they still failed.
And of course, you can't forget all of the other Northern California wildfires that happened in 2017 as well as 2018. Of the fires where CAL FIRE has released a cause, PG&E equipment has been at the center of 17 of them. That means they could still be liable for damages there. Not to mention the Camp Fire, which happened just this past year in 2018. Of course, CAL FIRE has yet to release a cause on that, but we'll be keeping a close eye on all of this. Live at the Live News Desk, Emily Turner, back to you.
All right, Emily, thanks. State Senator Bill Dodd, whose district includes the Tubbs Burn area, had this reaction, quote, "It doesn't negate the system-wide issues plaguing PG&E. CAL FIRE previously found PG&E responsible for over a dozen Northern California wildfires, and the cause of others remains under investigation." And from Santa Rosa, city leaders say they will withhold comment until their legal team has reviewed the report's findings.